Hello, 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 and welcome to the lunch stream with me. You're welcome to the lunch stream. I'm so excited to be doing this second episode of the lunch stream. If you're on here, and you can hear me, just say you can hear me. Let me know that you can hear me, and then we will get the show on the road. Today, I've made sure that I'm close enough to my internet so that there are no interruptions. So, anyway, so whilst I wait to see your comments, today I really wanted to talk about search engine optimization. All right. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Patricia. Good to see you. Great, great, great. Awesome. So today I really wanted to talk about search engine optimization and why that's important for writers and how I've used that to help my clients. And actually, recently, also my husband's blog. So my husband has a food blog and he writes about different Ghanaian dishes. And by helping him on his blog, he's now getting thousands, a few thousand page visits from Google just based on him using these SEO techniques I'm about to share with you guys today. And I do believe that if you want to be a freelance writer or a writer, even within an agency, right? If you watch the video where I talk about I moved from being a freelance writer to being a writer in an agency, and I'll probably do a video comparing the two, freelance writer versus writer in an agency, soon. You will realize that having search engine optimization experience is so crucial, is so important, makes you so much more valuable. Okay. So if you haven't started already, I highly recommend that you build your skill when it comes to search engine optimization. So the reason why you want to be able to do this is because back in the day when I started blogging, I say that like it's such a long time ago, but back in 2014 when I started blogging, right? Um, you could post stuff to Facebook, you could post stuff to Pinterest, you could post stuff to Twitter, and it would send you loads of traffic, right? But over time, algorithms change, things change, and next thing you know, there are people that once Facebook changed the algorithm, they went from 100,000 people seeing their content to maybe 100 people seeing their content overnight. Okay, so having this skill set of building content that Google can serve up to people over a long period of time is so crucial. Okay, and if you have questions, you can also ask me over there. Hi, Texel, how are you doing? So, so once social media did that, and recently Pinterest was also another place where people were getting tons and tons of traffic from. And in my experience, and from the experience of other bloggers I've happened to know for a really long time, this is also not working. As a writer, right, one of the things that you will be doing is delivering results for your clients. Now, you can't, guarantee that everything you write will deliver results for them. But I remember this quote from Zig Ziglar that says, you'll get where you want to go if you help enough other people get where they want to go. So if you want to make money as a writer, right? Whether that's as a freelancer or in as a writer in an agency, it's going to be really important for you to demonstrate that you know how to write content that can get eyeballs, that can get the right people viewing that content, especially from search engines. And so today I'm going to go over a few of those things that I did. There was a specific client, and for most of my clients, I've had these results. But for this one, I was extremely excited because when I started working with them, they had zero traffic to their website from Google. Zero. They weren't getting any. Okay. And then I wrote content for them for almost 2 years. And over that 2 year period, we're able to create multiple pieces that are now on page one of Google. And, you really have to understand that when people search for things, right? And even think about how you search for things. When you search for things, most of the time you click on the results that come up on the first page. How many of us actually go to page two of Google? Very, very unlikely. So usually about 70 to 80% of people, when they search for content, right, will look on page one of Google. And after that, it's just about 5% or even less than that, that go to the next page. And then page three and all that, that's just hidden. Okay. Nobody can see that. So getting to page one of Google is super, super important. So that's some of the, I'm going to share some of that with you. I'm trying to see where I put my drink. I'm going to share some of that with you today. But before we jump into that, how's everybody doing? Where is everybody from? I see Ashley, I see Patricia, I see Texo. If you're watching this on the replay, make sure to comment and let me know where you're watching from. All right. So that being said, I'm going to start sharing my screen, and I'm going to go into a tool that I love to use called Ubersuggest. And I'm going to show you how you can use Ubersuggest in the way that I'm describing to help your clients, your writing clients, get the traffic that they need. Hey, Dima. Hi, Jay from Saudi. Wow. Ashley from Texas. Patricia from the Midwest. I love the Midwest, by the way. I was just telling somebody that today. And by Midwest, I know there's several. So I'm not going to ask you to reveal where you are in the Midwest, but I know some people don't consider Ohio part of the Midwest. Are you one of these people? Anyway, I have brothers. I had brothers that also used to live in the Midwest. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen now. And you guys tell me when you can see it. So hopefully you can see my screen, but this is Ubersuggest. And I'll just pop on here and let, okay, I think you guys can see my screen. Okay, so here, right here, we have Ubersuggest, okay? And Ubersuggest, you can use it for free, but the paid version definitely has more features, just like everything else, right? All right. So right now, I'm just going to use the free version. I do have the paid version, but for people that want to use this on a free basis, you can use this for free. I think you get 3 searches per day, three uses of it per day. Okay. So what I used to do at the time I was when I was writing content for this company, they were a home healthcare company. Okay. So they served older people in their homes and such. And so I found another business, another website that was in that industry and which produced content on a regular basis. Okay. So this was the name of the company that it's called Griswold Home Care. I think that's what it was. So I found, because at the time, this other website I was writing for, they had zero traffic, zero. Okay. So then I found somebody within that industry that was creating content. And then I did this kind of surveillance on their website. I put in, you go to ubersuggest.com, you put in the link. And then over here, there are a few, there are a few metrics that you can take a look at. Number one, the number of organic keywords. They have 126,000 keywords that potentially lead to their website alone. Every single month, they're getting over 86,000 visits from Google to their website. They have what's called domain authority of 50. A domain authority is just a number that most SEO tools use, and basically it tells you how highly that website ranks in Google's eyes. Okay, and anything above a domain authority above 40 is really, really good. All right, so they have really great domain authority. And backlinks, this is how many times people have linked back to their website. All right, that's how many times people have linked back to their website. So those are the first set of metrics, right? That these, and when people link back to your website, usually it's because they trust that you have some kind of content that's really good, and that they're linking back so that other people can learn from you. Okay, so building links. Let me see what's okay. Can you guys see me? Okay, I think you can see me. Building links, right, becomes really, really important for SEO, but that's a whole other topic that we're not going to focus on today. Okay, today what we're going to focus on really is how you can use it. So the first thing I did was find a competing website, or a web, not competing, but a website that is in the same industry that produces content. If they were in the same industry but didn't produce content, it wouldn't be of any use to me. But they did produce content on a weekly or semi-weekly basis. Then I put their link in Ubersuggest. Ubersuggest gives me all the metrics. And then this would be the next thing that I would do. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so once we were able to see these metrics at the top, I would then scroll down, all right, scroll down on Ubersuggest and go to where it says top SEO pages and then SEO keywords. So Ubersuggest will tell you these are the pages that drive traffic to this domain, and it will also give you the number of estimated visits to the domain. Okay, so over here it's the home page is not really important, so I'm not going to focus on that. This is their home page. I'm not going to focus on that. I'm going to focus on the content pieces. So here's one that they created on the wages hump and how to prevent it. And this is a condition in older people where they get a hump in their back. And for some people, it's painful or uncomfortable. For some people, it's not cosmetically pleasing for them. And so sometimes people try to prevent that. So anyway, this piece of content is getting 3,000 visits per month. So actually what I ended up doing is when I saw that this piece actually brings traffic to their website, I would then scroll down over here where it says the wages hump, and the number of people that search for this term, 40,000, over 40,000 searches on Google each month for this term, and it's in position number 3. It's getting a lot of traffic. Okay, so there are a few things that I would do. I can check this out. Okay, all right. So the wages hump, when we click on just that, it's telling us the search volume. Then it also gives us SEO difficulty. This means that when, are we going to be able to create a piece that outranks this website's piece on the wages hump? Maybe, maybe not. We can try. Usually I'll say that an SEO difficulty of less than 50 means that you will be able to create content. And then when people search, it's more likely that Google will begin to rank you on page 1. Anyway, back then, I remember I created a piece on the wages hump. The SEO difficulty at the time was much lower than this. Over time, the SEO difficulty may increase because other websites are creating content on the same subject. And because of that, there are more and more choices that Google's algorithm has to sort through, right? Let me pause and explain that a little bit more. If you have a term, let's say there's something you want to create a piece of content for and rank for in Google, and then there are 10 million pieces of content that have been created on that, and Google will pull not just written content, they'll pull videos, they may even pull podcast episodes, more less likely. But usually if let's say there's 10 million results, they have 10 million pieces of content to sort through and decide which 5 or 6 go on page 1. Okay, so that's where SEO difficulty comes in. If it's just too much content out there on the same thing, it will tell you that the SEO difficulty is high. But let's say that you have this keyword. There's something we want to create content around, the wages hump. Let's take that again. But then when we search in Google, there are only about 1 million results, or maybe 500,000 results. That's significantly less than 10 million. And so the SEO difficulty will be much lower, which also means that it's more likely, the likelihood of anybody creating that piece of content and it ranking on page 1 is much higher. So that's how SEO difficulty, and of course, there's several factors that play into that, but that's one example of how difficult it may be to rank on page one. If there are too many results, or too many pieces of content, yes. If there hasn't been a lot of content created on it, there is a much higher chance that you will do well. Okay. Let us go back. Okay. Okay, there we go. All right. And so if I was trying to find a keyword to create content around, I might not create it around the wages hump, because the SEO difficulty is so high. But if you scroll a little, if I still wanted to create content around this, I could scroll down and it would give me in here, right? I would have keyword ideas. Well, the wages hump is too high, right? It's red. So that means it's the keyword difficulty is too high. But the wages hump exercises has an SEO difficulty of 30. And then the wages hump surgery has SEO difficulty of 22. And they also have decent search volume, 1,600 and 1,000 searches per month. Okay, so I may want to create content around these two keywords then, instead of creating content around or creating a piece around just the wages hump. So that's just one of the examples. And I would go through this exact same process for each blog post that I wrote. I would look at the keyword search volume. I would look at the SEO difficulty. I would sometimes look, and also one thing that you could look at is related keywords, right? These are some of the related keywords, questions people have around these. And this is all with the free version of Uber Suggest. You get 3 searches a day. So it says how to fix the wages hump, what causes the wages hump, is the wages hump hereditary. So all these could be content pieces you create content around. And you can see that these ones have SEO difficulties that are low. So one of the biggest keys to really winning the game when it comes to search engine optimization is, number one, doing the appropriate keyword research. Okay, doing the keyword research so that you find, and the way that I always easily found keywords was go find a blog, a website in the same industry, plug it into a tool like Uber Suggest. Look at the keywords that come up that are leading traffic to that website. Look for keywords that may be related or questions that are related to that keyword that have a lower SEO difficulty, and then create a blog post around that. And then one of the things that I would do within the blog post, so that's just phase one of that. But one of the things I would do after that is in WordPress, and not everybody uses WordPress, but most websites use WordPress. Is a very, very common content management system that is used by websites around the world. And there is a plugin called the Yoast plugin. There are other plugins like it, Yoast SEO. And if I'm able to sign into Yoast SEO, let me know Yoast SEO itself, but sign into WordPress, which I can't do right now. But one of the things I would do with Yoast SEO is it would give me a checklist of items to make sure to hit. And I always make sure to hit as many of those checklist items as possible, all right, so that I would give that blog post a better chance of showing up in search. Now, that's what's called on-page SEO. So you have your keyword research portion of things, then you have the on-page SEO. Now, with on-page SEO, you have things like you should write a piece that is longer than 300 words. Now, that I don't think is a hard and fast rule. There is some research out there that longer pieces of content right? Longer piece of content. So let's say 1,000 words. If you write a piece that's 1,000 words or more, then you have a higher chance of ranking in Google. Some people have that, it's contradictory within the space, within this writing and SEO and digital marketing space, that this actually is true. Because the reason I can confidently say that is because most of the blog posts I was writing for this home healthcare agency were between 500, 600 words, and some of them are ranking on page 1 of Google. So they don't need to be long blog posts, okay? And right now we're talking specifically about blog posts. They don't need to be long. But the caveat to that is that if you are writing 1,000 words that are strategically chosen and does a really good job of educating. Now, one of the things that people forget a lot of the time is everybody's trying to game the algorithm, right? This happens on YouTube, this happens on Instagram, this happens with Google search. People are trying to game algorithms all the time, which is why I don't blame these companies for continually changing the algorithms on us. Okay, because people are always going to find a way to game the system. But what you cannot gain is the user experience. You can't game that. Okay. So one of the things that, if you're listening to me, you are a writer who is maybe at the beginning of your career, or maybe you are like, you've started and you're getting some traction and you're learning SEO. Maybe I hope what I'm sharing with you useful. Let me know in the comments if it's useful. Is user experience. If I search for something, right? If I search for something on Google and then I find your blog, or I find a piece that you created, or even I find a video that you created on something, and then I click on it to watch or read, do I get the answer that I'm looking for? Okay, do I get the answer that I'm looking for? Number one. Number two, do I actually stay on there for a while? Have you created other pieces that answer my question? So, for instance, we might create a piece like I just showed you, the wages hump, which is a condition that happens in people's older people's backs, right? I create a piece on the wages hump, and then maybe somebody is typing in the wages hump. Well, they show up on the blog where this has been a piece on an article on the wages hump has been written, and then they find also that we've created a blog post on exercises for the wages hump. We've also created an article on medications for the wages hump, or how to overcome the wages hump with food. So we've created other related pieces, right? Creating a very, very comprehensive user experience. They're going to be like, oh, what is the wages hump? I have it. My doctor just told me I have it. I want to learn more about it. This blog is telling me what it is, and then it's also giving me different exercises. Then it's also giving me the food I can eat to improve my posture and all these other things, right? So then it becomes super helpful, right, for that individual. And Google sees that. Google has bots that see that people stay on a page for this long. And that then communicates back to Google that if people search for this thing, number one, it's useful for them because they're clicking through. And number two, when they click through, they stick around for a while, not just to read that piece, but they're reading other pieces as well. So this means that this is an authoritative website that we need to give more preference to. So then you cannot game the system when it comes to user experience. If you're just doing a horrible job, this is why sometimes I grow slowly with things, because I believe in doing things the right way and not always trying to find shortcuts to doing things, right? So somebody will see, oh, you got 20,000 visits to a blog. That's amazing. What are the shortcuts? What are the tricks? Don't do tricks. Do like practice real strategies that work for the long term. Okay, that's why over time we've been able to. This particular blog that I used to write for before I joined the agency I'm with right now as a writer, no traffic from Google whatsoever, and now they're getting 3,000, 4,000 per month from Google alone with several of the pieces I created on page 1 of Google. It took time, it took strategy, but it worked. So don't depend on tricks and there are people gaming the system anyway. So that is how that's just in a nutshell how I was able to help a client go from zero to getting so much traffic over the course of, well, it was over the course of a long time, but now they're getting close to 4,000 visits from Google alone. And that's really significant for Google to send you any traffic. For Google to send you any traffic at all, right? For you to show up on page 1 of Google when there are billions of websites out there that could potentially answer that particular question is really, really valuable. So just to recap, and for those joining, thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate all of you. If you just joined today, for the lunch stream, I was talking about search engine optimization, how I use search engine optimization to help grow blogs. And as a writer, it's such a valuable skill to have. I'm currently in the middle of doing what's called an SEO audit for a client of ours. And I'm learning a lot from it, but it is also validating a lot of the things that I put in place for a lot of my clients over the last 4 or 5 years that I've been writing. All right. So are there any questions? Any questions? I'll take any questions. Patricia, I think last week I saw your comment about about writing in healthcare. That's amazing. So amazing. I know you've been part of the community for a while, so that's so amazing to hear. Yeah, Patricia said this is useful. It's a lot to understand. Yeah, it's a lot, but I think that the basics are what I shared with you today, that you can take any website, you can put it in Uber Suggest, you can look for keyword ideas, look at search volume, look at competition, okay, and then look at related questions, and you can create a lot of content around that particular keyword that can potentially help whether you are a blogger or you are writing for somebody else's website. In both cases, it's going to be helpful. All right. But so those are the major things. Those are the major things. And then do's and don'ts for SEO. Um, do's and don'ts for SEO. I think one of the don'ts is what I shared, right? That don't try to game the system. Uh hi Han, this is my husband. Um do's and don'ts for SEO. Yeah, for sure. Don't try to game the system by using tricks and shortcuts and black hat techniques. Not helpful. Um All right. So Patricia says, I'm a new writer. It's health and wellness. Okay. Also, I'm writing on my social media to gain experience, visibility, and credibility for sure. That's a really, really good way to go. That's a good way to go. These days you don't necessarily have to have a blog. You could write on a place like LinkedIn. You could write on a place like medium.com. You can start a free account and start writing there. And, people have used that to build massive audiences, massive traffic into their business. So whatever works for you, I say go for it. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this lunch stream. I'm so excited to bring you these every Wednesday at 12:05 p.m. I do not want to bring my lunch. I just brought my tea today with me, my lunch on here, because it wouldn't be very nice for you to watch me eating whilst I'm speaking with you. Um, but you can definitely bring your lunch and we will be chatting on here. Patricia, you said Great question. Let's see. As a new writer, what else would you suggest for me at this time due to current finances? Writing my social, yeah, I think that this is it, right? So as a new writer, what I'll say is you always need to show your clients the value of your work, right? SEO, like I just shared with you, SEO is one of those things that's able to show my clients, that showed my clients the value of my work, because it's like, okay, yes, you'll, especially for those and I'm talking specifically for blog writing, right, and for content writing. And content writing is definitely not dead, or content marketing is not dead. Okay, you can use content marketing to bring clients into your business, but the thing is that lots of businesses don't have time to write the content, right? So what you should do as a health and wellness writer, Patricia, is find those businesses, find those places that are health and wellness businesses, and say, hey, you guys could benefit from having content on these subjects, and I can write for you. I can create that content for you. It does involve a little bit of knocking on various doors for sure, but if you knock on enough doors, there are people that will say yes. Okay. And then once you're able to snag some of those clients, show them the results you can get for them, then use those results to what? To get the next set of clients. Okay. So in my case, I'm able to demonstrate from my own husband's blog, from clients I've had in the past, that this, and they'll attest to it, right? That when I started writing for them, I had very little experience, but by employing the very things, and I wish it was even more complicated than that, but some of the very things that I shared with you today on this live, right? I was able to take their blog from zero, their website from zero, to getting this many visits from Google alone. Okay, they don't have to pay for that traffic. And let me tell you, as somebody that works in marketing and life and health science marketing, I'll tell you, okay, people sometimes pay thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get that much traffic, okay, to a page. All right. So being able to get that traffic. So I would say, Patricia, that if you've been able to get one or two clients now, that's good, and you should continue to build your skills. You should continue to build that relationship, but always showcase the results of your work to people. Tell people what you can do. Tell people what results you've gotten for others. And then, of course, you guys know me. I'm always saying to improve on your skills. And would it be valuable for you to learn? Yeah, why not? A free Google certificate, why not? It's extra credibility for you. I'm a believer in learning all the things. Learn all the things. Absolutely. So get that. All right. Well, this is fantastic. I will see you again. If there are no more questions, Wednesdays, 12:05 p.m., the lunch stream for half an hour. It's an Ask Me Anything / teaching show. Join me. Share this with somebody. Share this as a potential writer, blogger who wants to make money from their writing, and we'll have a great time. So this is great. I'll chat with you all soon. Take care. Um, Writers on a minimal budget. Okay, gotcha. I will see what I can do on that, Patricia. Writers on a minimal budget. You are like one great tip I'm going to give you, writers on a minimal budget. I told you two things today that you can take that to the bank. Write on LinkedIn or write on medium.com. You don't have to pay anybody any money for that. Okay, and your pieces can get a lot of reach. And then once you write that on LinkedIn or you write it on Medium, share that to your social media, whatever other social media you have. All right, so those are two places. If you don't have money to get a website right now, that's okay. Write on medium.com, write on LinkedIn, and then start that way. Over time, I've seen people just use just LinkedIn to get clients, and some people just even use PDFs. So it's totally doable. You do not need a website to become a successful writer. It's helpful, but you do not need it. Okay. All right. Okay. Awesome. But if you're talking about hosting, I'll talk about that next time as well. Website hosting and stuff. All right. Take care, everyone. See ya.